everyone, it's Chad Pavel, CPA here from the Pinewood CPA Group right outside of New York City. Here in this video, we're going to talk about PPP forgiveness for Schedule C business owners. So if you own a single member LLC, you've got no partners and probably no payroll, and this is definitely for you. If you have any questions or need our help in applying for PPP forgiveness, we've done dozens of these applications. Click one of the links here on the screen and book a call directly with me. We'll gladly help you out. So let me walk through on this post exactly your different options and different scenarios for getting PPP forgiveness. Let's just jump right in. The first thing to note is how do you and how should you have been paying yourself as a Schedule C business owner? So here's just a question. Basically, I know I can achieve full forgiveness based solely on my 2019 Schedule C income in originally the 10.8 weeks under the 24-week program. Do I have to pay myself every 10.8 weeks or for 10.8 weeks every single week? The answer is no, because keep in mind, you don't receive a paycheck. And when you initially applied for your PPP loan, they actually looked at your 2019 profit on your Schedule C, which is part of your tax return. And so you're not going to be taking a payroll check like your employees will be. So again, if you have no employees, and let's say you got a loan for $20,000 or $20,833, basically what you could do, you can pay yourself a couple grand every week until it's done. You can keep paying yourself as you have been, literally writing yourself a check from your business account to your personal account or transferring the money, or you can just take it in one or two big chunks. So as long as you used the money for personal compensation within the period, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to get full forgiveness. Again, as long as you have no employees and your loan is only $20,000 or $20,833. It's pretty simple if it's just you as a Schedule C earner. So that's really the basics of it. What you could do is pay yourself 60% of the loan and then also pay directly your interest, rent, and utilities up to 40%. So you could do that too. But what I would suggest is just make it really simple. Pay yourself the $20,000. You've used all of the proceeds for paying yourself, which is totally within the limits and the application requirements, the loan requirements. As long as you pay yourself the $20,000 or so during the covered period, you're fine. Don't complicate it. The next question we get is, should I wait to spend the loan? I realize it's now November, so you might already be out of your 24-week period. But the question is, should I wait? And can I wait a number of weeks before spending my loan proceeds? So here's an example. Let's just say that I receive PPP proceeds on August 1st. Can I take the 24-week period and start on August 17th for 11 weeks? Is that okay? Would it be eligible for forgiveness? The answer is yes, but first, let's just be clear. For PPP loans made on June 5th or later, when you actually receive the money June 5th or later, the 24-week covered period is the rule. There's really no, can I do it here? There's no 8-week eligibility to spend the money. You got to use the 24-week if you got the loan after June 5th. There's no requirement that a Schedule C taxpayer spread out the payments either. Again, you can take your big 20 grand check right up front. You could spread it out if you wanted to. There's really no payroll as well if it's just you and you don't have employees. Keep that in mind. So again, if you don't have employees, you could wait, but you might as well spend it wisely, equally. Just keep paying yourself as you have been. The number 3 scenario is, what about spending in different chunks? So here's an example. I'm a Schedule C taxpayer, but I have no employees. My PPP loan was deposited into my business account on May 19th. Remember, before the June 5th cutoff. I'm not electing the 8-week covered period. I'm going to use the 24-week period, and that ends November 2nd in this scenario. So if you've got a couple questions, here's 2 scenarios. First, can I write one check for every 4 weeks of payroll and deposit it into my personal account? Yes, but it's not a payroll check, right? You're not an employee. You're not getting a paid check. You're not getting a 1099 or a W-2. So as a Schedule C taxpayer with no employees, again, you've got no payroll. So your PPP loan was based on last year's net income, net profit of the business. That's technically how you pay yourself. You're distributing net profits from the LLC to yourself if you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietorship. And your forgiveness will be based on really the same amount. You don't need to spread out your payments. You can take them all at once if you'd like. So number 2, does this check have to be cashed within that 4-week period, Or if it is written within that period, is that sufficient to apply for forgiveness? So the answer is, in general, your check is a payment on the date it is written, not necessarily when it's cashed, but it's the date it's written. So because you're dealing with yourself, you should ensure that the check is cashed as soon as it is written. So take it from your business account and even scan it on your phone into your personal account. You could probably even send yourself a transfer through Venmo or something else if you have that available. So get the check into your personal account as quickly as possible. I really don't see any wisdom. In fact, it's actually kind of the opposite of wise in writing the check within the 24 weeks and then cashing it a couple months later. If you're going to write the check, just deposit it into your personal account. One more scenario we've seen is, hey, I've got PPP money, but I had a loss in 2019. So if I had a loss last year, but still got the loan, how do I maximize my forgiveness? Because technically, if you don't have any profits in 2020 during the covered period, then that's going to go against your forgiveness amount, right? So let's go through this scenario. Question: I'm a Schedule C filer. I ran at a loss in 2019, but I withdrew $120K from the business as the business increased its debt position. So you still took money out in 2019, even though you didn't have a profit. You then used your draw amount, what you paid yourself, to obtain a $120K PPP loan before the guidance was released on how sole proprietors should really calculate their pay. So this will be a scenario if you got the loan like right at the beginning before anybody knew what the heck was going on. So technically, you may have gotten the loan against the regulations, but if you got it, you're still in good standing. There's really not much you can do today. But here's how to make it right, so to speak. If the business now has 2 employees or 3 employees, the question is, can both of these employees be used against the forgiveness amount? Absolutely. So if you got a loan when you had 0, 1, 2, 5 employees, and depending on how they calculated the loan amount, if you got the loan now based on last year, and you have employees now, can you use what you pay those employees to get more forgiveness? Of course you can. So yes, you can use the 2 employees on the forgiveness application, and you can use the 24 weeks of pay as the covered period. In addition to payroll, keep in mind, if payroll doesn't cover 100% of the payroll of the loan forgiveness amount, you can also use 40%, up to 40% of the loan amount to pay your interest, rent, and utilities. So if you took a $120,000 loan, let's say these 2 employees, the payroll amount during the 24 weeks is $60K, and then your interest, rent, utilities is actually $30K. You've spent $90,000 of the $120. In that scenario, your forgiveness is going to be $90,000. You're doing it within the ratio of 60-40, and you're spending 90% of the $90,000 out of the $120. It means you still have $30,000 left you haven't spent, which means it's not going to be forgiven. But you still have the cash also if you did it properly. So again, there's probably 100 different scenarios that we can run through, but hopefully this has been helpful. In the end, if you're a Schedule C, again, single member LLC or sole proprietor, and you received a PPP loan, the max you probably should have received is $20,833 if you had no employees last year, and if you obtained the maximum amount. You should have gotten around $20,000. If you got more, you can certainly work with that on the forgiveness side. But again, the forgiveness is going to be pretty simple. Also keep in mind, there's the $50,000 easy application. If your loan is under $50K, you can pretty easily apply for forgiveness. As long as you fill it out honestly and with the right information, you'll be fine for forgiveness as far as what we see today. So a couple of things here. First, take a look at how much your loan was. Take a look at when you actually received the loan. How did you calculate the loan proceeds or loan amount when you first applied? Is it over $20,833? If it is, then you're going to need some employees or other expenses to maximize your forgiveness. As always, if you have any questions, click a link here to book a free Zoom call with me. Click this link to book a call. We are here to help you maximize your PPP loan forgiveness. Speak with you soon.